Israel has been very clear that they want regime change. President Trump, not so clear. He's gone back and forth on this. Is there any historical precedent of a regime change happening from the air? History doesn't show it. Do you think it would be possible? And if there were to be a regime change, would it be American boots on the ground, Israeli boots on the ground, or would it be maybe the Kurds with American support or Israeli support?
Look, I can't point to a successful example of regime change by air. Sometimes people will talk about Serbia, which was bombed relentlessly. Ultimately, eventually, a sequence of events took place that led to the departure of Milosevic, the dictator there, but not a straightforward and not particularly analogous to the current situation in Iran. So no, I don't think there's any precedent for something like this working out cleanly, smoothly, successfully without boots on the ground. And even with boots on the ground, the regime change history is rightly pretty infamous and unsuccessful for the most part, with Iraq in 2003 being the primary example. I began my career as a journalist covering the invasion of Iraq and then the aftermath of that. I thought that the lessons our country had learned were not to try this sort of thing again. It seems like some of those lessons may have been ultimately forgotten, and after not too long.
You've been in a position where you advised presidents in the past, right? I'm sure you must have war gamed something like this with Iran. Right now, as it stands, what would you advise President Trump after you've seen all the conflagration that's happening in the region?
Well, right now we're pretty far along down the road toward something that is going to be hard now to get out of, and that's what you're seeing. You know, President Trump is having a hard time, I think, setting the standard for when the United States could stop having started this war. You know, he said at one point, we're about to negotiate. Iran's asked to negotiate. The Iranians denied that. Then he said this could go on for 4 or 5 weeks. By the way, at this point, 4 or 5 weeks is feeling like it could be short, given how extensive the military operation is, and Iran still seems to have some capabilities to strike back. The problem you get into as a policymaker or as a leader in a situation like this is you start to feel what I guess I would call the sunk cost fallacy. We have already done a lot now, and to do a lot and fail feels like an unacceptable outcome. So then you decide, okay, we need to do more and more and more. And that's why I think you're seeing these discussions about the possibility of arming factions to either go in from Iraq, Iranian Kurds who are based in Iraq, or factions who are already inside Iran, which would only escalate the situation. And by the way, no guarantee that that wouldn't just lead to a state failure, civil war, or even more violence without success.